What's happening, friends? Welcome to Unlocked. It is the heart of the Q4 season. We are neck deep in games, and it feels so good. Coming up on this week's podcast, I had the unique opportunity to visit the Xbox campus and spend the day with the Xbox backward compatibility team. You probably saw the news earlier this week that we delivered here. Original Xbox games, 13 of them are now playable on your Xbox One, as well as 4 360 backwards compatible games are getting Xbox One specific enhancements. I want to tell you about my day there and those games. Plus, we've got impressions from Alana on Assassin's Creed Origins, which she has just reviewed. You can see that now on IGN, YouTube, etc. Kinect, rest in peace. It is officially discontinued. We'll talk about that, as well as a quote from Shannon Loftus, the head of first-party studios at Microsoft, on the sort of future of single-player focused games from Microsoft's perspective. So we've got a lot coming up. I'm Ryan McCaffrey, Destin Legary, the aforementioned Alana Pierce, Marty Sleva.
I was going to say something else. Sorry.
The aforementioned?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Everyone's fine.
Let's move on. Marty just grinding the show to a halt 2 minutes in.
I did it.
Yeah. Is that a new record?
No, I'm sure I've done it in the opening before.
Anyway, I wanted to start with the backwards compatibility stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great week it's been for Xbox. This was announced. The original Xbox compatibility was announced back at E3 with Crimson Skies was first, and then they confirmed Fusion Frenzy shortly afterward. I was invited to go up to the Xbox campus about a week and a half ago and spend the day with the compatibility team. And, I honestly didn't quite know what to expect. Was I going to be staring at a bunch of computers with a lot of numbers and programming language on them, or what was it going to be? But I ended up I spoke with probably 8, 9, 10 members of the team who this is a unbelievably passionate group of people. Like they're not just like coding away on this because it's their job. They are a really passionate, enthusiastic group of people who just wanted to make this work. Like it's if they were acting to sell me a good image to put forward in the article, they're all amazing actors. That's what I'll say is boy, they all really care. And I don't know if any of you have had a chance to look at how the original Xbox games look on the Xbox One yet.
I played a few of them last night.
Looks great.
Yeah.
How do they look?
They look fantastic. I played Ninja Gaiden Black, and I played
That was
Black.
the right thing to start with. Yes.
Yeah, and I played Black.
Yeah.
Black has like a 5-minute long intro cutscene where it's just black screens and titles on the bottom, and I was like, you can't skip it. I was like, oh man, why did I play this one first?
2000.
Ninja Gaiden was much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plays really well.
And Ninja Gaiden had native widescreen built into it
Yeah.
back then.
That's crazy.
So now it looks really good,
Yeah.
especially compared to some of the others. I played Crimson Skies, a quick network system link match up at Microsoft. I was on the I was on the original Xbox, and then one of the other backwards compatibility team members was on the X. Someone was on a 360, and someone was on an S. So you can actually network the games that have network capability across any
That's
console
super
in the
cool.
family.
That's insane.
Just so great. None, the online doesn't work.
Sure.
Some of them, in fact, most of this initial 13 doesn't even have any online functionality, and those servers are just long gone at this point. But compatibility. I think the default expectation was, cool, they'll work now. But the lengths that they've gone to, 1080p, higher pixel count or sharper images. Number one, with smoother frame rates, faster loading times,
And just so,
it's like a PC. It's great.
so people know how it works. Like you pop in your OG Xbox disc, and it downloads the game for you, and then you play it. You have to have your disc in. That's like your key, basically. And then you play the game. And man, they run really well. They're cool. It's just like, it was like a trip. It was like, this is how I remember it. Obviously, that's not how they looked.
Yeah.
But it's really fun.
You're leaving off. Well, I guess I'll give you the list here because the highlight, I think, pretty universally, I would say 1A, 1B is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Which you can buy for $10.
They're pretty much all $10. If you look,
Crazy.
they're all
Big
$10.
game, too.
Yeah.
So I actually spoke with a couple of the BioWare the veterans who are still there, who were on KOTOR. Microsoft set me up with a call with them before our story went up, and they actually on the call, when I spoke with them, they hadn't seen it yet because Microsoft did all the work. So I kind of was just talking to them more generally about, well, what advice do you have to people going into this for the first time who have heard the legend of Knights of the Old Republic and are going into it. And I think Drew Karpyshyn, the lead writer, said,
"Be nice."
Said like, forgive the like overly long, tutorial-y kind of intro. It was a product of its time.
Different time.
It was, and then he also said he did say, which made me feel good because I played Dark Side. He said Dark Side is more fun.
Monsters. I never could.
It's
Yeah.
always more.
I could never play Fable Dark. It was just a weird.
Don't worry,
sissy
you're
angel.
only in the 90% of people who play good side. When
the
they're given a
basics.
choice.
That's why
I'm
I
in the
usually
10%.
play games like that, but twice.
Yeah.
You play one, do
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
good, one bad, just for fun.
Yeah. So Knights of the Old Republic, Ninja Gaiden Black.
Yeah.
And then we've got
Blood Rain 2.
who
Third place.
your cries have been heard. Blood Rain 2.
The second one too.
Yeah, Blood Rain 2. Why
Yeah.
not?
All right.
Crimson Skies, which I mentioned, Fusion Frenzy, and then Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which Marty, I see
Good
you
choice.
nodding
Yep.
along here.
One of the best Ubisoft games ever made. in my
It's
opinion.
unfathomably good. That is boy, if we ever did a feature, which I'm sure we either have or should, on best sort of IP revivals,
Oh yeah.
Sands of Time is definitely on that
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. Seriously.
When was the Lost Prince of Persia game?
Wasn't it the
a while ago, right?
self-titled one, the Prince of Persia?
No, there was also
There was a
there was a
associated one?
tie-in with the Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Oh,
Was that really?
Yeah,
Really?
let's not talk about that one. The self-titled one in 08 was great.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Like that art style was.
Was that the cell
gorgeous.
shaded one, Marty?
Yeah.
You couldn't die.
The
Oh,
desert or
it's crazy.
something?
Yeah.
What happened in that franchise?
We'll
Yeah.
talk about it
Xbox
later
One
with
X.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
exactly. So, running off the rest of the list here, Psychonauts, thumbs up on that.
Oh, yeah.
Dead to Rights, which was really beloved at the time.
Just a great dog.
Man and his dog
Beautiful dog mechanic.
doing work.
Yeah.
Black, which Destin you mentioned as well. Grabbed by the Ghoulies, reaching in-house there for the only, actually that's not true, one of two original Xbox releases after Rare was acquired, the other being Conquer Live and Reloaded, which we'll talk about in a second, what we want to see added to this if possible. And Sid Meier's Pirates, Red Faction 2, and rounding it out a fighting game. Destin, tell me, is anybody still playing? Is there still a community around King of Fighters Neo Wave?
I don't know.
No.
Or is it just
I'm
a
not.
good
I'm
fighting
not a
game?
fan of the King of Fighters
Uh-huh.
series. Well, I'm not. Sorry, I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I don't play the King of
Yeah.
Fighters fighting game, so I can't really speak to it.
but it's there.
But it is nice to see a fighting game on there.
Yeah.
No racing games, right? Well,
Correct.
Crimson Sky sorta. You're driving.
Would have been cool to see Project Gotham.
Right?
Man,
That would've been-
I think
They own it.
I think if you went and played Project Gotham, you'd be like, "Oh boy, racing games have gotten better."
Yeah,
So I think that's one of the problems.
What about
Unless
What about Need for Speed Underground or something?
wrong.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Go ahead. What am I going to say?
Burnout 3?
Burnout 3.
3. Yes. Don't. Yeah. No. 3 is the
Three?
correct, 3 is the correct answer. Burnout 3 needs to be brought forward.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I think the problem there, and this was Phil had said this back at E3, and this was very much communicated to me at Microsoft as well when I was there. It's there are just the most bizarre, abstract, contractual problems with getting these actually out. It's not that, because like Burnout 3, you think, sure, EA owns that outright. That is their IP. Criterion, that's a studio they still own, even though Alex Ward and a lot of the actual team members have left. Except Burnout 3 has a bunch of licensed songs in it. So that's where the problems come from. It's like, because they're, who's going to,
And those contracts.
will
that ended.
will anyone pay for it to renew it? The contract's probably over. So it's all that kind of stuff. It's not
File,
just,
delete, file, replace songs.
but
That's
the
the code,
whole
right?
no the
Just
whole
code that in.
the whole thing
1,000
is
times.
they're not because the other big question I got asked after I posted these stories is people are like, what about original Xbox achievements? Well, I did ask, and they're adamant of not sort of modifying the content of the game. The presentation, they've brought up to speed a bit as much as they could, as you can see.
Achievements would be really cool, though.
I mean, it would.
Something to pursue. Reasons
Yeah.
for playing the old games. Yeah.
I would have to. They were very. I guess not political is the wrong word, but they were very sort of democratic about it when I was there. But I would have to think, this is me talking, not Microsoft, that the amount of work that would have to go into
could take away from
implementing
another game.
to implementing an achievement system wouldn't be worth the net result of. I mean, how many $10 copies of these things are you going to sell? Like there is still a business to be run.
Yeah.
So we're already getting, I think, a pretty darn great thing for free here with these visual enhancements.
The way it works, it emulates the Xbox Dash, right?
Correct.
Well,
And
if
it
you
runs
read
the
my
game.
feature
Same as the
story
360.
Sorry, I haven't.
IGN.com.
Sorry, right.
I know you're a little busy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they held it's a 25-person team that built an emulator that really it's a lot more complicated than you think it is. It's definitely not file save as.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, but
They have to basically trick the hardware into thinking that it is running a different hardware, which is crazy. And
Yes.
I just think this is like, I've said this before, but just a long list of things that Xbox is doing really well as services.
Yes.
Like backwards compatibility, getting both of those things are things that we get completely for free. The Insider program is awesome. Like there's constant UI updates. The latest
Game
one, it
Pass.
runs way
Game
faster.
Pass.
Game Pass. I got to play Sea of Thieves 2 weeks ago, and it's just like that. They just like keep
got
rolling this
in.
stuff out. I did. I finally got in. So it's like they just keep rolling this stuff out that I think we really take for granted. There's so many good services on Xbox, and the fact that this is free, we don't have to opt in.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's kind of getting me even more excited about like the X is right around the corner. They're just doing a lot of smart things right now. It's going to be interesting to see where they go next year.
Well, and they've. I think it's fair to say that they've weathered through a bit of a rough patch here in the certainly in the games department, which is ultimately what people care about. I mean, yeah, the hardware matters, but it's people want great games sell systems.
Yeah.
And it's been a rough go in the first party department, but hopefully with this is kind of momentum, Destin, that these all the services that Alana's mentioning and the backwards compatibility and the X coming out and the fact that 2018 does have the likes of Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 and Ori and the Will of the Wisps and the inevitable Halo 6 on the horizon.
yeah.
That this, hopefully they're really going to be heading on a significant upward trajectory with a lot of positive momentum next year.
Also, someone pointed out that about a year ago on the show, I said that the emulation would never happen via disc, and so we can add that to the montage of things I've been wrong about.
Yeah. I
Getting
don't
really,
remember why you said that, but I know that we all said that you were wrong. So
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
here we are.
well, Tomb Raider definitely got delayed that year.
I think that you've died on that hill so many times. The hill is
I keep coming
made
back.
of
Did he
of
keep saying he'll
skeletons.
quit if he doesn't do something? And
Yeah, or I'll eat things that I clearly haven't
are
eaten.
not edible.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, and then real quick, if you get an Xbox One X, there are 4 backwards compatible 360 games that are actually going to be enhanced, specifically if you're playing on the X, and those are Halo 3, the original Assassin's Creed. We'll talk more Assassin's Creed in a minute here.
I'm like the only one that loves that game.
Fallout 3,
Appreciate that game.
Fallout 3, and The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, that's the one I want to fire up when.
Yeah, mine might be
Yeah.
Fallout. Like people are either Oblivion or Fallout 3.
Yeah.
It's one of the two. It might totally be Fallout. That'll be great.
Already
but
beat Fallout 3, so I'll try Oblivion.
I got
it's just
to.
butt. It's just butt. The game's butt.
It's butt.
Oblivion?
But I just never
What?
liked it. Yeah,
It's
because
got
I,
Patrick Stewart.
it's because I played Morrowind. So it's like going from and I played it like by that I mean right before Oblivion came out. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is so simple, and I just hated it. And then like I liked Skyrim, but
Yeah.
we will fight
I
about
don't.
this.
I'm the last person
He hasn't
to.
played any of them.
I'm the
Oh, yeah,
la-
what am I looking at him for?
I just couldn't do it.
So what games do you want to see be added to the Xbox backwards?
Yeah, for back to OG.
Well, like I said, my first go-to was Project Gotham Racing, and that's totally a nostalgia thing. But I like it.
Get them
love
kudos.
I loved so much the way that the garages worked and how you could buy extra houses, build on stuff. Like I loved that stuff so much
Yeah.
that I just want to see it again. Like But now that I have Fable, I'm like, I'm good. Like,
That's all you need.
you gave me
What
Fable
about
Anniversary, and now we're good.
we were Ryan and I this morning were arguing about brute force. Where do you sit on brute force?
Yeah.
Pro boot.
I was pro brute force too. Ryan was adamantly anti brute force. He thought I put it in there as a joke.
Not on a top 10
I thought you
list.
put it in there as a joke. I was like, is this a
Maybe
joke
not on a
or-
top 10 list, but I am pro brute force. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like.
I think that game will have aged very badly when you play it.
I would like to play that game again.
I'm trying to think of like obscure things I played on
I
that.
like
the stuff.
I think I
the
played Harry
dangerous,
Potter
but I would
games.
Yeah.
not put that on a top 10.
Stuff that came to mind for us right off the bat was Jet Set Radio Future,
That's an obvious
Jade Empire, Breakdown, Mercenaries.
I insisted that Breakdown go on.
That's fine. Yeah, you could pull rank.
Don't ruin the whole list.
I mentioned Atogi, which was a
So
game
this
that
is
From
a
Software
list
did.
we're,
Soft,
we're
yeah.
officially working on that. For,
Yeah, we haven't. I don't think we've solidified what the actual, but it's like 10 games we'd want to see.
yeah.
Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction, all the superhero ones like X-Men Legends 1 and 2, Spider-Man 2.
Not happening.
I know.
No,
I
I'd never.
Hey,
Too.
I'm allowed to have my dreams, Ryan.
Also, Mercenaries
Make
with
it happen,
LucasArts, that's
Disney.
probably not happening.
Yeah.
Well, somebody owns it.
Technically, I guess.
Yeah,
comforting.
Disney owns it.
Somebody owns it.
Right?
No, it's an exciting time.
Give 'em
And
a cut.
this is just a thing that I again think is really cool because it's not really going to be profitable for them.
No, it's not.
It's just a cool thing. Like,
It's a PR play though, like word
Well,
of mouth.
it's.
I
a
mean, yeah,
PR
we're excited about it. So.
and it is a long. It's a long game for them with
Yeah.
this because it's the library just builds, and you get to a point where there are hundreds, if not thousands, of games across
Right.
Yeah.
3 generations plus.
Well, and it's Nintendo's always been really great at sort of honoring their legacy and sort of paying homage to the past, and they've been great at that forever. I mean, you look at Amiibo,
Yeah,
and you look
virtual
at
consoles.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
they're not doing great for virtual
Yeah.
console
They'll
right
get
now.
there.
Yeah, I was
They
like,
will get
yeah,
there.
about that.
I'm gonna
Ryan.
get like
get
Smash
that.
Brothers is that, but I'm saying like this is like Microsoft's been really good at that this generation. I think for someone that's been in the industry a lot, or the Xbox has been around a lot shorter amount of time than Nintendo. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is really
and
cool.
the fact that you don't have to repurchase the same game a million times, like
Yeah,
you have to
it's funny because I was initially like,
Yeah,
oh, I don't have
this is
these
cool.
discs, and I'm like, I have all these games at my parents' house. I think.
Yeah, I
Unless,
still
like
have all
that
my
room
original
flooded
Xbox
at some
games.
point. Yeah.
Right.
I still have them.
And just to head off tweets and emails, my actual number one most requested original Xbox game, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Oh, of
that
course.
is
Yes.
that is what we need.
I think we all know.
Ryan, I feel like I could write the list for you, and you'd be like, "Yeah, no, that checks
that
out."
checks
Like,
out.
I feel
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
could just be like, "And this is Ryan's list."
And Burnout.
Yeah,
And,
go ahead. Please, I have other things to do. That'd be great if you could just go ahead and write that.
Weirdly, I
What is
want
Ryan
Tiger
Cameron?
Woods, but only like 2003 or something like that.
Yeah, I got.
weird
Let
old
me be honest,
Tiger Woods.
Dustin, I got some bad news about that guy.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh no!
There's some things you should
Those
know
golf
about.
games were really good.
Well, they had a bunch of neat RPG elements
Yeah.
back at the time. Real quick before we move on to the impressions of this week's big new games, I just wanted to give a call out. Tune back next week. You all probably already do. Albert Pinello, who's one of the leads on the Xbox One X project, he will be here with us next week. He's going to come down and do the show, and as part of just the launch festivities coming up here for the Xbox One X. So I'll be looking forward to having Albert in the studio. And with that, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Big game.
Oh, is that how you say that? No, Origins.
Oregon.
Orgies.
Or Assassin's Creed Origins.
That's a different
Yikes.
game, I think.
No, it's a real good game. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Holy
I
moly!
assume that Dan, because we're recording before that's actually published, I assume he agrees with that score. Pretty sure I gave it a 9 out of 10. So my favorite thing about Origins, and the thing that I think was the least expected, is it's a game full of culture. So you start in Siwa, you play as Bayek of Siwa, who is the last of the Medjay, which is basically like a pharaoh's assistant, kind of, but a little more just than that. And when you're in Siwa, it's still cool. Like, people know who you are, and you're kind of figuring out what's happening in this world, and there's this crappy leader who you need to take down. But then the game opens up, and there's a place that worships crocodiles, or a place where there are like insane prejudices between the Greeks and the Egyptians, and a place where there's chariot racing, and that's like the center of how you prove your worth. So it's just this game that has all of these different cities that have everyone talking about the specific things in those cities, and people praying to the same thing, and just they're all so different. Like everywhere you go, there's something
Like a real regional feel. to it.
absolutely, and even
Yeah,
this-
Memphis is like a huge area.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right?
It's a really big map, definitely the
Yeah.
biggest we've seen in an Assassin's Creed game. It's also, you can traverse the entire map with no loading screens unless you choose to fast travel, and even fast travel is like a lot easier than it has been in
It
previous.
is also stupidly gorgeous.
It is
The
really
game is
good.
so pretty.
You could say, right, you played it on an X, right?
I did. And we
Caveat
played
to
it.
that.
Yeah.
We played it without the day one patch, so we didn't have HDR. But it's also we played it on dev kits, which I ultimately think was a terrible decision because it was buggy, there were performance problems, and 2 separate times it crashed. And one of those times, I think it was actually the X's fault in that it just signed me out. And it was like, you've been signed out of this profile and kicked me out. It's a dev kit, so it's like such a weird choice for them. I'm sure that the actual hardware will be fine, but that was just like a weird thing that I'm like, I have to consider this in my review, and I wrote it. This is a weird thing.
Yeah. It's weird that they would have you play the review and they're like, hey, by the way, we're going to patch all this graphical stuff. And like, this is
I basically just
pre-release
mentioned
hardware.
it.
And
it was like, there are performance fixes incoming, and this isn't official hardware. So it's like, it's just such a weird way to play. But it is still very, very pretty. And I've also seen it on PS Pro, and I think it looks gorgeous on both of them. Like, and even on a regular PlayStation, you're playing on regular,
Just
right?
a launch PlayStation.
Yeah, so I feel like anyone on any console is going to appreciate the way it looks because it's so dense, and all of the cities look so different. Like, it's gorgeous. So moving on from like the culture part, which is my favorite part, it's also an RPG this time. This is
You're speaking my language right now.
full-scale RPG. It took me 30 to 35 hours to finish
Wow.
the main campaign, and I think you can finish it at around level 32, and I think the level cap is 40. But it takes you that long to get there. So
there are walls that you hit too, where just like you can go into an encounter, but you can't necessarily defeat the enemies, correct?
yeah, so I wanted to find out if you actually could, if you went into an encounter where someone was like 4 levels higher than you, if you actually could. And the Ubisoft said that it's technically possible, but almost impossible.
Yeah.
So it's like you can like try and
Like
fight
typical
someone,
RPG.
Yeah.
pretty much. You can try and fight someone who's 3 levels higher than you, and you just get your butt kicked. But my favorite thing to actually do when I was grinding or trying to do side quests was approach a Far Cry style outpost and try one that was like several levels higher than me and figure out if I could actually do it. And some of them I would, like I found one that was 5 levels higher, I would die, I would gain a level, I would go back and try it again and like see how far back I could do it. And it would take a really, really long time, but that's a thing that hasn't existed in previous Assassin's Creed games. And it just like gives you this extra level of challenge every step of the way that you can opt into if you want to or not if you don't want to. So
Those are really fun.
yeah, I love those. Like I'm sad that I had to get rid of that save file. So I can keep
And I feel like the outposts they really accommodate to different play styles. Like you can do the traditional stealth, and there are upgrades that will enhance your stealth, and you can make it through an entire outpost without ever being spotted. You can also look at the various things in the outpost and use it against the enemies, like setting people on fire and letting loose animals, or using different tools you have to
shoot
berserk people.
an arrow at a cage to let an animal out.
Yeah, or you
That's
can
straight
you
Far Cry
can,
right there.
Yeah.
or you can get a big hammer.
Yeah, Marty just goes in with a big hammer.
I have a very big purple hammer, and it causes people to have tantrums, and it's great.
So Marty's playstyle with
Are you describing a hammer?
you can have also tantrums. It's like this overpower.
Oh, dude, I
ability
love the
that you get
tantrums.
That, in combat, you like have this meter that you build up, and depending on the weapon you're using, it'll like unleash a different ability. But I mostly played with a sword, sometimes with dual swords, specifically with the sickle because you have all these different options for weapons this time, and they all do different things or have different effects. The sickle was mostly bleeding damage, which I just really like, but after seeing Marty play yesterday,
I did very good.
God, that was frustrating. I do a lot of dodging, blocking, and parrying, and Marty was just like, "I'm gonna just swing."
It's the big hammer.
This
I think it
big
feels
old
great.
mace
I
of
thought the hammer felt great.
But yeah, I think that like the point is that you can do that however you want to, and when you're playing with a weapon that does less damage, it's more like a dance. It's like I need to look at their animations. I need to know when to dodge. If I have to break their shield, it's a heavy attack, or I can wait to the right time to parry to get through them. Like some enemies can't be broken with a heavy attack, meaning you have to parry them. And there's a ton of enemy variety too. So it's just like the whole time you're thinking about what weapon you want to have equipped and what ability you want to purchase next, but how it will help with every single combat encounter, which is like its own puzzle.
So sounds like the year off and this sort of rethought approach to Assassin's Creed has really served it well.
This is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very good.
Yeah, and without going into any spoilers at all, like I think Bayek and his wife are really super interesting characters, and I love their relationship. And then
They love each other.
Yeah, they love each other.
and Cleopatra and Caesar being there, like that's super cool.
I think you feel bad about some of the assassinations, which is really cool, which you don't really do in a lot of the
humanizes.
AC
Some
games.
of them are just like
Oh, yeah,
garbage
totally.
monsters, but it humanizes a lot of things, and there's some really creative stuff like there is in Far Cry, like drug trip boss fights that are just crazy. And if you are out in the, I don't know if I want to say.
Yeah.
This is a thing that I don't know if you know, actually.
Well, then probably don't say it.
Don't tell us. Don't ruin it.
There's basically just like things that happen in the game world that you wouldn't expect to happen when you're like out exploring that are just like really cool and smart. And
It also
yeah.
does good. I like how it handles the sci-fi meta narrative stuff of the series.
Fans of the series will find stuff to appreciate for sure.
I want to ask you about your take on the weapon variety. There's a lot of weapon variety, but in previous Assassin's Creed, you just kind of move around the D-pad or just swap easily. In this one, you actually have to go into your menu and switch the weapon type you're using, unless I miss something when I play.
You can upgrade so that you can have 2 of any equipped at one time.
You could have a sword and a hammer. Yeah.
Or 2 different types of bows.
I didn't really mind going to the menu because I always used 3 different types of bows. So I would swap mostly between the hunter and the predator bow. The hunter bow being kind of high damage, loosely locks on, and shot 3 arrows, so it did a ton. And that was good for like close quarters boss fights where I wanted to use an arrow. And then the predator bow is one that goes into first person, you aim with that. So I swap between those a lot, but there's like
really good.
5 or 6 different bow types. And then for my sword, I mostly stuck to the same one. So one of the things I brought up in the review is I think that while there is a ton of weapon variety, it's kind of always obvious which one of that weapon, like class of weapon, is the one you're going to pick. Like legendary weapons aren't, the one that does the most damage. And legendary weapons are pretty easy to come by. They don't really feel legendary in a way that like weapons in Destiny 2 do. So it's, I don't mind swapping between them in the menu. I just don't feel like there's that much importance in finding them at all. And I quickly learned not to do anything with blacksmiths, like not to buy weapons because you just find so many.
Yeah.
You do.
They seem like the different weapon archetypes is fairly similar to Destiny in that you can get certain archetypes of a class of a weapon, like the sword, the predator bow, for example. You have predator bows, then you have like rapid fire bows.
Yeah.
And you just kind of be like, well, I like this style.
Yeah.
So I pick that.
And then you just pick the strongest one of that is the thing.
Exactly.
They don't have like, some of them have other effects. Like I had a fire sword. That was pretty rad, like Game of Thrones style. But for the most part, there's not a huge amount of variety there.
I think it's a great improvement to the weapon variety.
Dramatically, like the weapon variety, the actual
excited about
combat, like there's hitboxes now where they went for it was more animation based. It's just like the combat has literally been rebuilt from the ground up, and that's such a PR phrase, but it actually has. It's like completely revamped. You feel a little less like an assassin, I think. The story addresses that, being that it's Origins.
Yeah.
But you can still totally stealth your way through stuff, still have a hidden blade, like all that stuff as well. So I'm trying to think of
this is just great to hear as far as I'm concerned. I feel like every year, the Assassin's Creed games have been usually good or better than good. Mm-hmm. And every year I'm like, yeah, man, it looks cool. I want to play it this year. I want to spend, and inevitably every year there's something about it where I can never quite work up the enthusiasm. A lot of times there's some other big game as well that I'm maybe a little more excited about.
That's definitely not the problem on the 27th.
And that's the thing.
It's coming out.
And now it's this game's making such a strong case, and I'm so glad to hear your positive impression.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's Wolfenstein 2 is out this week as well.
I mean, I can talk about that too.
Yeah,
I also played that.
That's called segue.
That was nailed that segue.
That's how we do it.
I have way less to say about Wolfenstein because I haven't played as much of it.
Yeah.
But I love it. The start is awful. It's
again. Wait,
look, no, different kind of awful. It's awful in a way that it just like presents you with the worst stuff ever. Like when you play through it, understanding the context of stuff that has happened to me recently, there's just a part where I had to stand up and walk away, and and it uses the N word is there like twice in the first 5 minutes, like referring to a young girl. Like it's just brutal. It's just brutal. But immediately it has so much character. The first gameplay is what we saw at the E3 demo, where you wake up on the ship and you're like wheeling around in the wheelchair. And
yes,
I
played that section.
Yeah. So then once you get past that part, it's like, hey, new mechanic, and it's just like this is a game. Like it just like gives you all of this stuff. Like it way more opportunity to stealth through stuff if you want to, and it encourages that. Like there are effectively enemies that if they encounter you, will call for reinforcements automatically. So you're like, okay, I'm in this room. This enemy is how many meters away? It tells you how far away they are. And you immediately are like, I need to approach this person before anyone else notices me so they can't just flood me. And just new abilities and ways to traverse environments that it's just like, just straight off the bat. It's just like, here's all this stuff and here's what you do.
I mean, that's so good to hear.
That sounds
so good.
Yeah.
That sounds exactly the kind of single player first person shooter that
I was thinking
I
like,
need.
even based off what I play,
it.
like obviously I can't talk about the whole game because I haven't finished it, but I was like, this is exactly what I want a first-person shooter campaign to be in every way. Like, I can't figure out if the stuff at the start that's all awful is awful in a good way yet. Like Like, it definitely made me think, and it will stay with me. But I'm like, was it trying to be shocking or is it good? And I don't know yet. I honestly haven't.
It also
decided.
sounds like some of it hit you very personally.
Yeah, but I think it's contextualized. I won't know until it pays off.
Sure.
Really.
So last year, I think we'd all pretty well agree that the best first-person shooter campaign. Last year was 2016.
Doom, right? We can talk about Doom.
Well,
I've also got
Doom and I was going to say Titanfall, but then I forgot that Doom was the same year.
Battlefield.
Doom and Titanfall and Battlefield 1. Last year was good.
Oh, pretty good.
See,
Yeah.
Battlefield 1's campaign was not anywhere
I liked it
near,
a lot.
not compared to those other two.
I don't think it was as good as the other two. I think it was better than most things we get nowadays.
So this sounds like Wolfenstein
I think this
2
is better
sounds
than
like
all of them. It's like just based on what I played, I love it, and it's just so weird that they like the New Order did this as well. The New Colossus, they just did such a good job of mixing adventure personality. Like, it feels like an adventure game, but obviously it's a first-person shooter.
Right.
It's just this like
Titanfall
gorgeous
2 was pretty
melding.
good about that
Yeah.
too.
I didn't finish Titanfall 2. I literally only played 3 hours of it in like 2 months.
That's so you have like an hour to go.
You didn't get to the level.
I didn't get to the
The
level.
Oh, you're not even
level.
at the level?
I didn't get
You
to
didn't
the
play the level.
What?
I did not. I know the level you're referring to, but
It's such a level.
I'll finish it when I have time. But you know what this week is? The busiest week ever. Also Wolfenstein. But yeah, of what I played so far, I love it. And I feel like that's saying a lot because this was, and people call me crazy because Mario and Assassin's Creed, this was my most anticipated game of the latter half of this year. I was most excited about Wolfenstein.
Yeah, everybody's allowed to have. I mean, there's so many good games this week, let alone the second half of the year. I mean, yeah, for me, Odyssey's been the game I've been most
Like
looking
most
forward
people
to.
are saying that.
Yeah.
But like I was most excited about this one, and I'm surprised by how good it is. So it's like even then I'm like, oh,
That's the
this
thing.
is
It's like
great.
for me, I feel like my personal priority order right now is Odyssey, Wolfenstein, Assassin's Creed.
You play South Park yet?
No, it's
Right.
So
that's
that's
sitting.
South
That's
Park?
sitting on
I'm
my
like,
shelf.
what's wrong
ready
with
to go.
I'm like 2 hours in.
That game is also very
Well,
good. I'm also playing Evil Within right now. Like,
there's
just
so many games.
drowning in video games.
Yeah, it's just like where do you find time? Where does one find time
Yeah, it's
for all
tough.
these great games?
But like it's thankfully like they're all really different.
yes,
Of those 5, they're all completely different
five
genres.
yeah.
So it's
completely
just, like,
different experience.
Yeah.
You can play whatever you want. Like it's such a good.
Yeah, it was
time of
funny.
year.
Like, I think the other night, Brandon was like, "Hey, does anyone around to raid?" I'm like, "Shut up, Brandon. There's too many games. We can't raid. We can't play Destiny."
He just got back from vacation.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like still in
He's like,
Destiny
"Yeah, I just
world."
got
We're
back.
like,
You guys ready to
"Nobody's
raid?" I'm like,
playing
"I'm playing
that
Assassin's
because
Creed."
probably for him he's screwed. He's like, well, there's all these 5 games are out, and I just came back from vacation.
missed them.
I am so I was so sure that I was going to stay on top of everything, and then I had trouble with my Wolfenstein code last night. And I'm like, nope, this is it. Everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
I'm like, my plan was to finish Wolfenstein before Mario. I'm like, oh God, Mario's going to be here. What am I going to do?
So I haven't finished South Park.
Neither have I.
Evil Within's way longer than I thought it would
It's-
be.
it's
just
very
long.
But they're all good games.
This
Like
is
all
the-
of them are good.
Yeah,
This is the best This is the worst best.
these are the best problems to have.
time of the year.
It's such an exciting time of the year.
Dude,
good.
Last night I
17
was
rules.
just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed at 4 because I want to play and / need to play Wolfenstein. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
screw it, I'm doing it. Like I'm just gonna deal with this for the next month.
That's
It's
what I've
fine.
been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holding it together.
Just like,
Yeah, so if we
straight
all
up
look
not sleeping.
exhausted on camera, it's
We've been yawning multiple
because
times.
of that.
It's because
Yeah,
of that.
we're not
Because of
bored.
the games.
We just
It's so we
just
could
really
talk about
like
it
these
now.
video games.
Yeah.
Marty tossed me a yawn earlier.
Oh, dude,
saw
yeah.
it.
I did a
I've-
hearty yawn.
I've been trying to hide them, but I have yawned.
Yeah, you laughed at me when I yawned earlier. That wasn't nice.
Well, because you just did a big ol'
That was fine.
kind of thing.
It was fine.
Gaping maw just opened up in front of the
Exactly.
The
microphone.
abyss.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's move on. We could spend all day celebrating games because that's what we do here. But let's also mourn a certain aspect of video games, and that's the Kinect.
I'm not gonna
Kinect
I'm very
I'm
sad
good.
about this.
I'm glad it's good.
I'm sad.
officially discontinued. There was an interview with the
But my Star Wars dancing game.
I just liked being able to say Xbox on.
You still can.
Alex
Plugs and such. It's more complicated now.
Alex Kipman,
Ryan.
who's the creator of the Kinect, and Matthew Larson, the general manager of Xbox Devices Marketing, confirmed as such in an interview with Fast Company's design website there. So it is not being manufactured. It's done. It's over. Obviously, they haven't been pushing it for quite some time, but now it's what's there is there. There will not be any more.
I'm kind of surprised that this didn't happen earlier, actually.
Yeah,
Also, if the strapline of our news story wasn't Xbox off, then
we need to
we
shut
failed.
it all
As,
down.
we failed as a
Yeah.
journalistic outlet.
Anyway, yes. I mean,
Shout out to the
I'll
4
tell
people
ya.
whose Xboxes just turned on.
And they can't hear because they don't got Xboxes on anymore.
2010 to 2017 is what's on the tombstone. And boy, we got Marty over here slagging it. We got Alana sticking up for it.
I'm sad about it.
This thing has a complicated obituary. Let's say it really does.
It was marketed terribly. If you tell people that something is compulsory, then they're probably going to hate it no matter what. And that's how it started.
I mean, how many memorable Xbox moments did this give us from?
I remember
from the,
Xbox on quite well.
Ever wonder what the bottom of an Avatar shoe looks like? Bam! Kudos Sonoda. That's gonna follow him for all time.
Yeah.
The 70th time it popped up without me prompting it to because
And
I
it's
was
like,
talking.
hi, Destin.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm in the middle of a fight. Like, get out of here! Not now.
But then there was Rise, where you could
Okay,
fall in the
you
catapults.
gotta not talk about the
It was
catapult thing.
so
That's
much
all you
fun.
do.
Xbox,
Like-
stop listening.
I think that the thing with Kinect is that it's a very impressive piece of hardware. It is without a doubt an impressive piece of hardware that just was utilized terribly. It's just like they used it for
But was it,
security in
though?
some regions.
Like,
yeah, it's very well engineered. It just
was it?
didn't do anything good with it.
I'm always going to remember having to review Gunstringer inside of my closet. My girlfriend at the time being like, "You went to college. Why are you doing this?"
See, I didn't particularly like it for any of the motion controls. But again, my parents don't know how to use my Xbox without it. So it's like I left that there with them so that they can use it. And I think that in itself is awesome. It like bridges a generational gap.
Take a walk with me for a second. It's announced. Kudo Tsunoda, bottom of the Avatar shoe. Bam, there it is. We walk forward to
the ponchos.
the space ponchos.
Oh my god!
I was standing there with the OXM crew. See Ninja Gaiden creator Tomonobu Itagaki wearing a poncho, and he walks out. He's not, because they're like, no, you can't take it off and you can't leave, and he just left. He couldn't do it. We walk forward, and then we get
What Handmaid's Tale
You
is that?
can't
Like,
leave.
everyone wearing those ponchos?
You can't leave. No, I
Like
believe
Man's
it.
Closet all over.
Yeah.
Do you remember the event? Did you watch it?
Oh, I watched it. It was nightmarish.
I'm one of those damn pixies in the crowd with the shoulder pads
Complicit
that
in
lit
that
up.
crime.
And
It's so
I didn't.
weird.
I did not sign up for that.
Yeah.
I was a prisoner. I was held captive. And then we walk forward to sort of a turning point for Rare, the start of a very interesting chapter in Rare's history, where they did.
I want to talk about
They
it.
took the lead on Kinect Sports
Kinectimals?
franchise.
No.
That they were not Kinectimals. No,
Sorry.
that was a Frontier, I believe.
That one was kind
But-
of cute.
Yeah,
Get that
and
case.
then
Just Dance is arguably better on Xbox because of it.
That's true.
Works best on that platform. Still
Dance
does on
Central was the
Xbox
big
One.
one, right?
Dance Central was the big one.
Steel
Harmonix.
Battalion.
Steel Battalion.
No, Marty.
Shut up.
Shut up, Marty.
We're not there yet. That was Kinect 2.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't even.
the original Kinect is crap.
Oh, wait, no,
it's
it
Kinect
wasn't.
2 that I like.
No, it wasn't. Sorry, that was the original Kinect. I'm crossing the streams here. Yeah. So then we move. It sold 10 million units. The original one. It did very well out of the gate. Riding the in the wake of the Wii and the motion controls.
You know what? Suicide Squad was the #1 film of that weekend. So let's just say
Just
that.
remember Boss Baby in
Yeah.
the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, and then
a sad
okay, here
time.
comes Kinect 2. The Kinect 2, the one that's going to work properly this time. It's still the promise of the original Kinect remains unfulfilled. Do you guys remember the original unveiling where the kid holds the skateboard up to the camera and it scans it into his game?
Yeah.
That never happened.
Remember when I didn't need to have a child because I had Milo?
Oh, yeah.
Peter Molyneux was sitting at this desk with me and told the whole story of that.
It's so weird.
You guys remember when in the office I kept saying Xbox Skype Fran Mirabella? I finally got it to work, and 2 senior staff members started dancing behind me for a video production, and I lost it.
That's pretty great.
I was a little embarrassed because I was so mad. I'd been working on this video project for hours. I finally get the good take, and I was so mad because I had to redo it.
So
Dance.
ultimately, what I know, what's this going to be a backhanded thing, I guess, but what is Kinect's finest offering as it dies?
that my
Alana-
parents can use the Xbox.
Alana's features that you
How about
talked about, I
just
think.
game-wise? What's the best Kinect game?
All right, well that makes it a
Now
lot.
that
Dance
it's
Central.
Rise, it's Rise.
that's
Zoo
not
Tycoon
a
was-
Kinect game.
Zoo Tycoon was good. Well, no, I mean,
I'm talking
Kinect.
Kinect game.
what's the
Gunstringer's the only one I like.
Dance
that?
Central.
And
I
that's
don't know what's
where
that. What's that?
There was a Fable one that wasn't good.
The
where
game
I
where
looked.
you-
I,
I
did-
reviewed
I
that.
did this all the time.
The
So
game
did
where
I.
you
I
like
reviewed
make the platforms with your own body.
Oh, Hue.
Hugh.
That game was actually cool. Wasn't that game called Hue?
Fru?
Fru.
FRU?
Yeah, where you like.
I never played it.
Okay, that game's really cool.
Yeah, I heard it was great. But I think Gunstringer is probably the one most of us would point to.
Yeah.
I don't.
The dancing
never
Twisted
cared about
Pixel?
it for games, but it's like I have an Echo in my apartment now that I just talked to, and that especially makes me miss Kinect because it's like I can ask it for a timer. I wish I could be like, turn my Xbox on, play Netflix. Like I miss being able to just control everything remotely.
And I wish
That's what I
Microsoft
like
would
for it.
sell a little, a
Audio
little one of
box.
those devices to plug into any Xbox to keep the voice command thing
It's
alive.
like super
yeah.
popular now, and it's just like they kind of did it too early. And
They did.
They probably shouldn't have suggested that it was going to be a gaming thing because it was more of the whole entertainment system in one
Quality of
thing
life
was
thing.
what I thought
Yeah.
it was, and that's what I liked it for.
Yeah, I wonder if folks at Microsoft would ultimately look at it at the Kinect program across two devices as a success or not. Because if
First one, maybe.
no, that well, the whole thing. Because what we don't want to dance around is the fact that the Kinect did. Yes, it sold. The original one sold like 10 million and had a sort of a huge debut, but Kinect factored hugely into the Xbox One, and it is part of the reason that they're a fairly distant number two to Sony. I mean, yes, Sony did a ton right. Not gonna, but the Kinect and being bundled in that extra $100,
Yeah.
it made it that had a huge effect
That
on this
E3 in
generation of
general.
consoles.
Yeah, it really did. And it from the gate, there's still people who don't realize that you don't have to buy it with Kinect and that it isn't online always. Like,
Right.
That's crazy. But
There's a reason Phil's in charge and not the other guy. Yeah.
Don Matrick was his.
I don't want to
Enter
speak
the
his name.
Enter the Matrix. That's the name of the Matrix game, but I did
The way that launch was
No, I
handled
got
is,
it.
it's, it's infuriating to think about because
time you dropped
it was very damaging to the brain.
Yeah. I mean, Phil's been having to dig out of that hole ever since, which he's
And to
done a
his
great
credit-
job of.
To his credit, yeah, he did a
Yeah.
great job.
But yeah, so that's why I wonder. Maybe you know what? Well, I'll ask Albert when he's here next week. Like I know I don't think he worked on that directly, but I'll just get his opinion. See
Yeah.
if he'll give that opinion.
It's
one
so
way or
funny
the other.
because both this and Move/I were such. I don't know. Obviously, this has been in development for a while, but seemingly such reactions to the Wii's
Yes.
astronomical success.
Yeah.
And I bet, looking back on it, both Sony and Microsoft were like, "Man, wish we would have sat that one out." I mean,
Yeah.
granted, like Move and I still are a part of PSVR, arguably the worst parts of PSVR.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, jumping on a bandwagon does work. We saw what happened with Fortnite. I don't know if that's because it's free right now. People are jumping onto the battle royale system, but yeah, in this case, it was not a success.
Womp womp.
R.I.P. Kinect, 2010 to 2017. We hardly knew ye. Actually, we knew ye very well.
You lit it too well. and you got all of our information and probably put it up in some clouds, so you know us really
could
well
check
too.
Your,
It's
your
true.
heartbeat. That's my favorite.
It has
Kinect thing.
seen
It knows when
you-
you're dead.
Oh, it's seen me do unspeakable acts. just some real gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't know how to segue out of that.
Sorry, Shannon.
The story about storytelling.
Forget it. No, I was working on something and I was just like,
abort.
yeah, I'm gonna pull the chute on this one. Just
It's seen me pull the chute.
yeah, stop. No.
Damn it, Roddy.
Our friends at GameSpot had an interview
Right out of there.
with the head of first-party studios at Microsoft and Xbox. That's Shannon Loftus. And they spoke with her about sort of the market viability of single-player focused games. It's a big hot topic right now. You know, of course, with the closure of Visceral and the sort of restructuring, reimagining, re-genreing of the Star Wars game. And she had some interesting quotes. She says, let me start that over. Game development in general is about a couple of things. It's about delivering an experience, and it's about telling stories. Storytelling is as central to game development as it's ever been. And then later she goes on to say about the sort of market for exclusively single-player games. She says, I don't think it's dead per se. I do think the economics of taking a single-player game and telling a very high-fidelity, multi-hour story get a little more complicated. Gamers want higher fidelity, and they want higher resolution graphics. She also went on to talk about Game Pass with this a little bit, and she says that is a method by which Microsoft might be able to continue to do single-player only games. She says that Game Pass gives us the opportunity to potentially fund games like that.
That's a fantastic way to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, do this other service, which is a great service, to fund another great product for the community, as opposed to loot boxes.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing is Microsoft this generation, their single-player only games haven't performed that well.
And we're going to talk about one of those next.
Yeah. Are we?
We are.
Exciting.
It's on the next page.
I didn't go there yet.
You'll
No,
see
I
when
don't
you
spoil
flip
it.
over.
No, but you look at stuff like games they had last year, like Recore and Quantum Break, didn't perform that well. Whereas, look at everything that they have, all the games you mentioned for next year of State of Decay and Crackdown and Sea of Thieves, those are all shared online experiences that you'll probably be able to pay more than $60 if you want for various things.
Bet the farm on that.
Yep.
Whole farm?
All of it.
It's a very bad farm, though. It's just
It's an
terrible
Orwellian farm, though. It's
Gotcha.
fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to deliver a campaign experience that tells a great story while also implementing some of the shared world experiences.
Gears.
Yeah,
This is
I think
such
it's-
a perfect medium.
I thought the Destiny campaign was cool. I thought the Destiny 2 campaign was great.
That's another game I still have to finish.
Oh, it's got real good.
So, like,
So behind.
I think people sort of expect just single player, me only. I go through this experience.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna go away completely. It's
No.
just a little bit more challenging to do it at a level that's gonna garner.
That's the thing.
the
I wonder-
money that publishers need.
I
Well,
wonder.
again, like you can have like Gears. It's a single player campaign that's really, really good and well thought out, but
Yes.
then a multiplayer that's
Yep.
also just as good and makes money.
and Halo.
Also
does
Halo.
The same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, those are their two pillars. Yeah.
Yes.
And both of them do that really well and still have good campaigns.
And I think it's very interesting that that she does bring up Game Pass as a possible, I'll say, solution here, because really Game Pass is it's Netflix for games.
Yep.
And if you look at Netflix, those of us that are old enough remember that Netflix started as a thing where you'd get DVDs in the mail.
That was it's so weird.
And eventually it became successful enough where they started funding their own original programming. And now Netflix is arguably the single most influential network, maybe alongside HBO and with Hulu in there too. But CBS, Fox, NBC. I would argue that Netflix is more as a sort of bigger platform than any of them.
100%.
So if we can only hope, I think, that Game Pass does follow the Netflix model, where it starts, as it has started now, as this $10 a month service where a catalog of games go into it. But hopefully, eventually, if it gets successful enough, we will start to see these
Gameflix.
single-player
Sorry,
games
Gameflix.
get created.
Game Pass original.
Yeah, specifically for this. I think that
That'd be
Netflix situation is the best case we can hope for.
Also, how has Netflix not started Gameflix? What? How is that not a thing?
Remember they did for 2 minutes.
Oh,
You remember that?
I was asleep.
when they
probably.
when they
ran it.
split the business in two
Oh,
for like 10 minutes
yeah. And
and,
then everyone
got super goofed
lost
on
their
and,
mind.
and then they wisely were like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers. See, that's how.
That's because Stranger Things came out. We're thinking
That's
about
also
the
out this
upside
Thursday,
down.
isn't it?
I
Yeah,
know.
one of,
and
one of the
Jigsaw.
things one of the things they were going to do was game
Games.
stuff.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And they bailed out of that real fast.
Didn't they like change?
They changed the
or
name.
something?
Yeah,
They also
I-
just
what do
said
you
that
think
they're in 2018 they're investing $4 billion in the original programming, and my pitch is that it all goes towards one movie, and they just make a $4 billion
Yes.
2-hour movie.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
No.
so that's Netflix.
You don't do that.
Got an idea.
Or
It's a romantic comedy.
No.
It takes place
Don't
in a
listen to
bar.
Marty.
$4
Don't
billion
listen to Marty.
romantic comedy. What
What if
is
it
it on
were
the
a-
International Space Station? Like, I think that cost $19 million.
what about a
Yeah.
quadrilogy where it's 4 $1 billion movies all in a series, but each one could have $1 billion worth of different and insane things in it.
That sounds better to me. Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson and Boo the dog,
Yeah.
the two most lucrative humans on earth.
Yeah, they're gonna be in that
Yeah, incredible.
Racing.
trilogy.
We did
leasing
Yeah.
in Teslas,
Yeah, because they care about the environment.
Snapchat.
You know why we
fast and
work
the
here and not
furious.
there? This is why.
We're off the rails. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a really good job by GameSpot there, getting that story up.
Also, real talk, I just saw what the next story is, and it's filling me with
Yeah,
just white hot
very
rage.
excited about this.
Just tons of rage.
I turn the floor to you, Marty.
Angry about it?
Yes. Insomniac has stated that they want to make Sunset Overdrive 2, but they
Publicly.
just need a publisher. In response to someone tweeting at them, they said, "We'd love to, we just need to find a publisher." Someone publish this. I don't care who it is. Someone give them money and let them do this.
But this goes back, Marty, to I voted for Sunset Overdrive for IGN's overall game of the year in 2014. The rest of these idiots out here didn't go along with me, so
I voted for Mario because it
Still
had
trying to get a lot
cats.
of people to play it.
This
Still
is
probably
everyone's
still
fault.
play it.
If you haven't played
voted
it,
for
you're
Cat
the reason
Mario.
Very good
anything
game.
bad is happening
Very, very
in the
good.
world.
Voted
Yeah.
for Cat Mario.
2017 is
disappointing.
this way
But again,
because of all of
you've
you.
got. I feel like this is a sort of a Titanfall kind of situation, only worse because Titanfall, excellent game, Xbox exclusive. Sequel comes around a couple years later, multi-platform, but the sin. I think Titanfall sort of and Sunset Overdrive suffered for the sins of the original pitch of the Xbox One, where the PS4 got off to that huge start, and there was just a lot of bad news around the Xbox One in its early days. And Titanfall came out, and it was great. But then the sequel comes around. People just PS4 gamers didn't play it, didn't know it,
Don't release it in the middle of November.
and they put it out at a bad time, and it doesn't do well. So I feel like Sunset's in kind of that same difficult place where phenomenal game comes out early in the life cycle. There's still kind of that black cloud hanging over the Xbox. It doesn't do well. So if you're a publisher, you want to look at this and go, man, yeah, this was really cool, but it's a single player only game, and it didn't do super great on this one platform. Man, am I really going to invest
understand
tens
why
of millions
publishers
of
would.
dollars in this? And I hate myself for even saying that. But I'm not even a smart business person, but just trying to look at it from that perspective, it's like,
What's my
it is a tough sell.
ROI? Oh, I'll lose money.
I think it is a tough
that's
sell.
tough.
I mean,
Yeah.
How do you do it? Like what do you do to get this game made? I mean, I hope it happens.
Yeah. I think it takes sort of a mid-tier publisher or a growing publisher.
Like a Deep Silver kind of.
Like a deep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
Deep
you
Silver
look.
could do it.
Agents of Mayhem, like
Yeah.
that sort of connects, or someone like Gearbox, because I feel like Sunset
That's a good-
Overdrive,
yeah.
And Borderlands have a very similar tone,
Right.
Or what I honestly do think is going to happen is I think next year Spider-Man is going to be one of the 5 best-selling games of the year, and I think Sony might try to do this.
I disagree.
They'd be wrong. They'd be more
think
Spider-Man.
I think Sony will, in the event of that Spider-Man game's success, I think Sony will just greenlit Spider-Man.
Oh,
2.
they will 100% do that, but then I feel
Don't
like
they
it's-
only have one
if-
team?
if-
Aren't they all aligned?
well, I think they're big enough for
like
yeah,
they
we'll
made-
give you
I mean, they have the
Spider-Man
small
2,
indie.
but
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man is clearly the Sunset
Everybody's
Overdrive
got to be
game.
folded
Don't-
into
I don't-
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I
by
don't
now,
see that
right?
happening. I think that'd be something small, but this just made me happy because they said they want to do it and that they would consider it, and they spoke about it publicly.
Because
so
they said the
now
word
we-
Sunset
publishers
Overdrive.
are thinking about it. So
it could be a fold into like
Good.
Spider-Man 2, like you said. Like they're like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, we'll make Spider-Man 2 for you, but we also want to do this little thing. And so if Spider-Man 1 does well enough, they just be like, sure.
well, it could also work as like they bring out Crackdown 3, see how that works, and then they make Sunset Overdrive 2 in the same kind of model as Crackdown 3. Like make it like the ability to have the cloud with the shit.
Oh, because you could
Like, that
totally
would-
make. Man, you could
Oh, a
totally do.
multiplayer.
You could totally have 4
Absolutely.
people running around that map,
Absolutely.
causing a ruckus.
Yeah.
100%.
And I don't think it would hurt the gameplay in any way.
Also, just
so.
throw a bunch of microtransactions in there. I don't care. I just
Okay.
want a second game.
As long as they don't
Mountain
matter.
Dew ads everywhere.
Yeah. Oh my God, just do that.
That would
Just
actually probably
flood
fit.
the game with advertising. Just have every billboard be dumb things I could buy. I don't care. I'll just do that.
There you go. You solved the problem.
Thanks,
did it.
You did
Pepsi.
it.
Why don't we publish it?
Yeah, just have Red Bull publish it. They have a ton of money. Just put Red Bull everywhere. Instead of just having, well, they probably don't. The whole thing's about like an energy drink that causes the apocalypse. They
Yeah,
probably
people
wanna
die.
do
Probably
that.
not Red Bull.
Several
Mountain
people
Dew.
die.
Mountain
Yeah.
Dew's not an energy drink technically, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm going to be honest thinking about it. I think that no, liquid brand is probably gonna go for
Unless
it.
the second game is about the liquid that is the savior of them all. So
It's like Gatorade.
Yeah. Oh my.
Mountain Dew.
Or like milk. What if milk sponsors it? And it turns out the only way to get rid of
Dasani.
the energy, the sunset
You know who
overdrive
really
juice.
needs product placement? Milk.
Milk. Yeah.
Youths
milk
these
rules.
days just aren't buying enough milk.
How much
They don't.
milk?
They're not
You're
aware
not
of
drinking
it.
any milk.
No, you're right. I don't.
You don't drink.
Monster,
I've
but
never seen
water
you drink
and
milk.
protein Shakes.
I
No
can't
ads
drink.
for it
I
anymore.
can't.
Yeah, we
I am
can't drink
incapable
milk.
of drinking milk.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I'm capable, but it doesn't end well.
You know who
Yeah,
I
me
bet has a solution for you? The good folks at Milk.
They don't. They don't have a
Ryan,
solution.
It'll
it
be
does-
almond milk or something.
Ryan,
could.
it does a body good.
Not mine.
They said it does a body
I'll do
good.
it.
Are you a body? Yes.
It doesn't do my
it does it
colon any good. I'll tell you that much.
That's false advertising then.
It is. I
It's
should
not
do
false
that.
advertising. Hey, listen, folks at Milk, I think you're doing a great job, and I think we got a couple babies on here
Milk
who
Incorporated.
who can't handle the sweet spiciness of your white
The
liquid.
nectar.
Oh man.
That white
Um,
nectar.
no, I think
No.
Am I going to a bed?
no.
Oh
Stop.
boy.
I think you're totally right, Marty. I do think it would be like I don't think like if I'm just trying to look at it semi-realistically, which again I know I'm not on the biz side of things, but I don't think a major publisher touches Sunset Overdrive with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
But I do think you're exactly right. Like a Deep Silver Gearbox is a
Yeah.
great suggestion. One of those kind of
That
up
Bethesda-
and coming
Bethesda doesn't have a game like
505
this.
games.
Yeah, yeah.
One of those
That's not
kinds
gonna do
could come in. And now the problem with that is this probably had a big boy publisher, big kid publisher budget.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if a Gearbox or a 505 or a
they have to
But at the
scale.
very least, they have the foundation. Like they have the engine, they have the framework. Like you don't have to
all
build
those
this.
nice flips.
True.
And good jump.
Oh yeah, they
They've
have
got that
so many
down.
flips.
Yeah, and that compared with Spider-Man, like they're very good at flips now. So
Oh dude, they're gonna be probably the premier flip developer.
yeah,
Spider-Man looks
Big.
really good.
the moral of the story is everyone plays Sunset Overdrive because not enough of you have.
Also,
Literally
Marty?
free.
Also, if you want strong bones, drink milk.
Wait, it's
Like-
free?
It was for a while there.
Has it? Oh, it's been in games with.
I think it's $6 now. Someone
$6
tweeted that
plus?
it's
It
$6.
is reasonably
is
priced.
it Wario 64?
For $6, yeah, it was Wario 64. $6, you can get Sunset Overdrive, or you can get 2 full gallons of the sweetness known as 2%.
Where are you
Milk isn't
shopping?
Sweet.
I don't know. I honestly, I haven't bought a
that's
gallon of milk
one.
in forever because I just drink it at work. We have so much milk in the fridge, guys.
Like it
Yeah,
a
we
little
had
light.
milk.
There was a lot of milk.
Get it in
that.
skim variety.
Yeah.
We're allowed to just drink the fridge milk.
Oh, dude, I drink that fridge. Yeah, they buy it for us. I'm not like stealing anything.
Why
from
do
the
they
fridge.
buy us milk, but we have to pay for the Coke? No,
Because milk is good for you.
not for
You don't-
me.
Looks like a quarter.
Whole quarter
Because
that I have to
apparently
steal
we're-
from Dan Destin. 'Cause they
We're
don't
being
carry
we
funded
all
by
steal
the,
from
the
them.
milk conglomerate.
We literally on Saturday night we just had mac and cheese, and then we had cheese.
Oh, that mac and cheese was good.
I gave him $1 once. We're good. We're not really stealing from
just
Dan,
steal
right?
from In other news, Destiny 2 is the best-selling game of September, and according to Activision, the best-selling console game of the year. Translation: PUBG is probably winning on PC. Switch topped hardware sales. The software top 10 is Destiny 2, NBA 2K18, Madden NFL 18, FIFA 18, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That's a surprising one. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, also surprised by that. Grand Theft Auto 5, NHL 18, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Zelda was a little surprising. Great to see Rainbow Six Siege on there again.
Yeah, the game's still doing
Zelda's
to me,
been hanging
Zelda's
on
not
all year.
surprising because
Mario, right?
no, just because Switch is the best-selling console,
People
and everyone who's
still
buying a
buy
Switch
that.
is buying Zelda.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you see, I mean, Nintendo's attach rate has been insane.
Is there a Mario bundle?
There is,
Because I would buy the Mario bundle if I was buying
should.
a Switch
It's
right
Zelda.
now and buy
Yeah.
Zelda.
Also, Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
That game's been out for 2 years.
Still a really good game
awesome.
that constantly gets updated.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean this is that's the one I wanted to call out because this
That's
has
good
happened
games of
before.
service.
Yeah.
Where
Had this conversation.
yeah we have where Rainbow Six sneaks back into the top 10.
I remember because you asked me what class I played as, and it's like I don't know the names of any of the operators.
Sledge.
I like
for life.
I
Sledge.
remember Sledge, yeah.
There's the girl one. There's
The
a few
lady.
girls actually.
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
SWAT.
I don't
With the
remember any
lead
of their
developer
names. I could like
and,
point
the
it out
girl.
if you like gave me the tile, but I'm like,
SWAT.
and they have
I'm
real
going with
names.
SWAT.
Also, just to me, it's pretty incredible that in 3 weeks, Destiny became the best-selling console game of the year.
So it launched in September. I was pretty sure it was going to sell well.
Oh, I knew it was going to sell well. I'm just shocked it
that well.
did.
That
Like,
fast.
I wouldn't have been surprised if it became the best-selling game of the year, but just to do that, that quickly.
console game because they're
Yeah.
they're
That's PUBG.
sidestepping PUBG right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their player base has seen a dramatic drop off.
Oh, dude, I look at my friends list. I know it has. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how it does when like the DLC comes out later in the year. I think people will come back, But like once you beat
I didn't even end
the
up.
raid and all that stuff,
I
there's
mean,
little.
it came out at a
incentive to
time where there was
continue.
nothing else to play for like 3 weeks, and
Now
I like
all the good
sit
stuff is
and I
coming.
panic, and when I go to my dashboard, I'm like, oh, I have so many games.
I played Tacoma at that point in time.
Yeah, they released in that perfect window again, which is why they're on this list, and now it's
Well,
Nightmare Week.
And I mean, it's you're talking about a perfect window. They were the first big AAA game of the fall, and that's so everybody's got their dollars. That nobody's out of money yet.
Yeah.
So they can get everybody. They got very wide potential audience to sell to. I'm not gonna. This looks like $5 on up for Sunset Overdrive. Some website I've never heard of, but maybe it's
Amazon.
legit. And then
Wait, it's the website. Where'd you try to buy your TV off of? Uncle Ricky's, Joey's.
Yeah.
To buy TV off Joey's.
It's
Don't buy there.
It's $5.
We've
but,
given
that's
them
just the
more
box.
press. Than
I
they
love Joey.
deserve.
Also, Joey, what if you publish Sunset Overdrive and you
Think about
become
it.
the main
Think about
character?
it. Yeah.
you know who we should get to publish Sunset Overdrive? Jeff Bezos. Amazon.
he's got some money.
They bought Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting into everything.
Opening up
Yeah.
that second campus.
Yes.
Like Chicago's offering them $2
Just
billion,
get-
They
They
destroyed
have-
Seattle by
making it so expensive.
hiring too many engineers, and now the rent's gone up.
Same thing. Yeah, San Francisco
Amazon.
all over again.
It absolutely is.
Let's get Amazon to publish that game.
What about Elon? You got Elon's number.
He's,
Have
yeah,
him
get
he's
publish
Elon
got
the
to
game.
do it.
37 jobs already.
He doesn't need a job. Just give him the money. Give him all the space money.
I don't
Yeah.
think
What if
he is a
it's-
gamer. He is
what if
he
it's
is a legit
Sunset
video
Overdrive
game
2
player.
is in space?
What if the Rick and Morty guys
He-
publish it? They got money.
You just Dan Harmon and Tristan Roiland, like those two specifically.
Yeah, they like games.
They do.
Right? Yeah, they do.
Love
They
Craig
like
Harris.
IGN. Yeah.
They the Rick and Morty account follows me. I can just DM. I can slide into those DMs and be like, publish Sunset
I
Overdrive.
Just still be like, but who are you and
Who
why?
are you? Why
would we do this?
unfollow?
This is completely unrelated to our
We
brand.
saw you at a blue check mark. So we followed you.
That's probably what happened. Let's be honest. So yeah, October. What's going to be the top seller for October? You guys, because everything
Funny
comes up, but
because
it's all at the
Mario
end
and
of the month.
AC,
Weird,
I
yeah.
would have said, but they're coming out with 3 days left in October.
Yep.
I don't think it's gonna be Shadow of War.
South Park.
I don't think it's gonna be South Park.
What are our options here?
Maybe
then?
it is multi-platform. It's a big deal.
Shadow War.
I-
Like
I've-
real
Shadow
talk,
War.
maybe NBA again.
Yeah, maybe a sports game.
I believe it will be Odyssey. I think everyone
Four
with a
days?
Switch.
Which doesn't
Yeah.
have the window.
I mean, I'm buying it. on
Everyone
PlayStation.
well, there's
buys it.
pre-orders too. That counts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah.
you know what though?
The
I
install base is
just
too
realized,
small.
Destin, you correctly mentioned there's that Super Mario Odyssey bundle, the
Yeah.
hardware bundle.
Oh, bundles don't count.
They don't count, and I'll bet a lot of people are going to buy it that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to be.
Yeah.
Also,
I'll
you
just
didn't
guess
buy it 'cause
South
you got a
Park.
review copy.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
AC
reviewed
will
the
do
video
pretty well,
game.
but
I pre-ordered it. It's because Amazon, you get the if you're a Prime member, you get that 20% off pre-order on
Wait, really?
games.
Games.
Yeah,
Can I still do that?
Probably.
You
You
might
won't
want to
get
do
it
it
in
right
time.
now. Like
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm
As soon as
finish,
this
I
show
probably
comes
finish the
out.
show.
yeah.
It's fine.
Probably finish the episode.
Do it.
I'll
Destin's
guess
like,
South
yeah,
Park.
you should totally go to your desk and pre-order it.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
go for it. Go.
I'm gonna give it to my nephews for Christmas because they need to. Everyone needs to play Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, cool uncle.
I feel about Odyssey the way I felt about Inside last year, where I just walk. You need to play the game. It's so good. It will make you so happy. That's how.
Have you heard the good word about
Have you
Super
heard
Mario?
the good word?
That's how I
Yes.
feel about Wolfenstein right now, except it's like more about tears.
I'm gonna be honest.
You
I
need to
feel
play
like you
this
guys
game,
are
it'll make you
feeling
feel
about
awful.
it in different ways. I feel like Mario and Wolfenstein are slightly different.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
like
it's
the
that
most.
sense of passion that like I haven't had this year since Zelda. Really, that I was like, you have to play this game. Like
I
like,
felt that way
wanna
about
talk it.
Hellblade, and then no one played it.
Yeah, so you didn't do a very good job of telling people that they have to. Play
I
it.
want to play it. I don't have time.
Make
it's
time,
only
Ryan.
had
It's
more
it's that
time.
good problem of too many games.
What else do you have going on?
You're right.
I'm being
This
very
disaster of a
sarcastic. I-
Oh my goodness. Anyway, I feel like Marvel vs. Capcom kind of came.
yeah,
I
Infinite's
mean, like it
still
did
on
well.
there.
Obviously, it was number what 7? Was that 6?
Yeah.
But I feel like
Surprised by that.
nobody talked about it.
No.
Did that just like straight into the fighting game?
FGC.
It's the fighting game
Yeah.
community, man. They're just gonna eat it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fervor died down. I guess it did well enough.
Yeah.
Everybody was mad about that
I,
game for a while.
I didn't think it would do great, but it's there.
Seems to
People are having fun. That's
off
what's
to a good
important.
start.
Yeah.
All right. What are we spending our money on? Everything we've been talking about.
Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, and Assassin's Creed Origins in retail.
Also, well, it's not coming to there, but you can buy Mario.
You can buy Mario
You should
also,
if you have
yeah.
a Switch, for the love of
Digitally, we have Rugby 18 Day 1 Edition for $60. The Mummy Demastered for $20, which is actually
Wait, was
supposed to be
rugby
quite good.
rugby was that sport with when
Yeah.
the boys get in the pile?
Yes.
Okay, and then the fingers.
Yeah, we did this last year too.
That might have been 2 years ago.
I think that might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2-year anniversary.
Just Dance 2018 for $60. The Inner World, The Last Wind Monk.
No,
bad.
no,
$30.
Bad video game.
no.
I had troubles with that because I was going to say Wind Monk, and it's very confusing. Rapala Fishing Pro Series at $20. Deer Hunter Reloaded for $20.
Hold
The
on.
original Deer Hunter, great movie for the whole family.
Well, that's also like a shovelware game
Nope.
from the 90s as well, the early 2000s, where it was sold in like, that's the game that like would sell millions of copies from the Walmart and the Staples that I worked at and all those sort of like office store places where that's the kind of games where the sort of Joe average dude that never plays any other games buys the hunting sim. But I just have to applaud the name Deer Hunter Reloaded. I mean, I'm 100% on board with that.
Yeah, that's
as a
pretty good.
title.
One more.
We Sing Pop $30. The Jackbox Party Pack 4 for $25. We played this
Over the weekend.
the weekend.
Yeah, it had some
It's-
pretty fun
it's-
games.
It's a little janky, but it is still fun. Yeah.
That's the We Don't Know Jack people, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah,
Jack.
and those are all the games where you play it as a party and everyone plays on their phone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love those. Those are
really fun.
fast.
Yeah. Real Thumb is $40. God of Light Remastered is $10. Abith the Rates of
Hold on.
Eden.
How does a game that I've never heard of get a remaster?
Well, how did Rogue Trooper get that game last week? Every week,
What?
we stray
What is
further from
happening?
God's
We
light.
forgot to mention that at the
remastered.
top of the show. Rogue Trooper, like they could just let you put your disc in the
Oh,
Xbox One.
Destin put that on the list of suggested games for the future. He's like, I slipped one in there, and Rogue Trooper was on there, and I was like, damn it, Destin.
Put one troll entry in.
Good job, Destin.
Abyss, The Rats of Eden is $9, and a game called Elix, it's $60, which I've seen people talk
Yeah,
about.
it's I saw and played this back at
Alex,
Judges
maybe?
Week ahead of E3, and at the time, so I'm going to caveat this was not a final version of the game. Obviously, it's just out now. It was kind of that Fallout 4-ish type of post-apocalyptic thing, but like
It looked like Crisis
way
to me.
jankier. Like just that sort of nowhere near the polish or budget.
Sure.
I don't know how the heck it turned out.
Yeah.
It has a small amount of hype around it. So it's
Also, I was too busy making dumb jokes about putting fingers in butts, but the Mummy Demastered looks really cool.
I
It's
did
based
say
on
that,
the
yeah.
terrible Mummy movie, but it's Way Forward, who does the Shantae games and did that really good Alien Infestation. I'm seeing some people play it. It's a Metroidvania, really gorgeous pixel art.
Yeah, I mean,
Mummies.
you can
Supposedly doesn't
stop-
present a lot of new ideas, but it's a lot better than the movie. So that
Yeah.
You
There's
can
like, hey, we have this huge opportunity to tie in with a movie game. Let's make a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And they did.
You could stop at way forward.
Forward, yeah.
And that's the
Cool game.
consistently good output from that studio on any platform.
on the marketplace, there is a free demo / trial of South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
It's like the first hour. I
You said the
think.
first hour.
and
That's
then
cool.
you're
Are there Easter
you're
eggs in it?
Huh?
Because it's a demo. Do you think they put Easter eggs in?
Oh,
Like they did if you try and skip the cutscene at the beginning too.
well, it's yes. I mean, I'm
Could
sure
be.
it's there.
That'd be really neat.
Yeah.
October Games
And
of
your
Gold.
save progress carries over, by the way.
Oh, wow.
If you decide to buy it, which is nice.
October Games of Gold, we have Gone Home Console Edition from October 1 to 31 on Xbox One. The Turing Test from October 16 to November 15 on Xbox One. I really want to play that. Rayman 3
That's
HD
over.
is over. And Medal of Honor Airborne, October 16 to 31 on Xbox One and Xbox 360.
Fantastic. Let's do some trivia real quick. See if Destin can gain any ground. I don't think it's happening this week.
You won't.
Yeah.
You're getting so in baseball as September winds down, Marty, you get to the point where you get a magic number, which is the number of games you have to win or your opponent has to lose that you're going to clinch that division title.
I'm just gonna pretend we're tight.
So next week I'm going to calculate your magic number because I think you're.
Or for the rest of the year, if Destin gets it right, he gets 2, and I only get 1.
Why would we do that?
He needs something. He needs something to live for.
Wow.
He would almost definitely win. That's
It's a 4-point advantage right now, a 1-month advantage, and we're at the end of October.
How about
So-
if you get it right, you lose a point?
But I know the answer, so I'll get it wrong on purpose.
None of
Then
this,
you just say neutral.
All right, shut up. This is not going well. Let's see what happens here. Dan Sullivan writes in and says, with the release of Middle-earth: Shadow of War, what other licensed property did Monolith develop? They've got a lot of interesting games under their belt. Going back to, they had an original IP way back in the day that was like this mech thing called Shogo. That was cool. They did Blood, and Blood 2.
No One Lives Forever.
No One Lives Forever. They got quite an eclectic history. They also made one of these 4 licensed games. Was it The Matrix, Path of Neo, Gotham City Imposters, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, or Alien vs. Predator Extinction? I'm going to go to Alana first.
They don't matter.
Well, no.
Wow.
Of course you matter. It's because these 2 clowns say they know it.
Well, I think I know this as well. I think it is B Gotham City Imposters.
Okay. Let me go Destin's way. Marty's very confident.
Yeah, so WB games. I felt pretty confident that I thought it was Matrix, Path of Neo, but then the
That's
more
what I thought at first too. But then I think that I don't think that
the
one.
more I thought about it, like they're tied to WB. Gotham City Imposters would have been their foot in the door.
Matrix was also a Warner Brothers movie. I'm not swaying you one way or another, but
I'm going the Matrix. A.
All right.
Okay.
Going with my gut, and Marty's going to take
that was a bad gut. It was Alana's right. It was Gotham City.
Yeah, damn it.
Totally
I wasn't trying to trick you. I was just
Marty tricked
I
me.
I think
Let
Like,
the record
between those
show.
two.
Matrix
Marty
was
persuade my
I think the
decision.
Matrix was Atari and Shiny, and Scott Pilgrim was Ubisoft.
You're right.
And I don't
You're
remember
correct.
Alien.
Scott Pilgrim was definitely Ubisoft. I don't know
So
about Alien.
not only is Marty's magic number getting lower, closer to that clinch point now with a 5-point lead, but I think Alana, you're going to pass Destin before the year ends. Is
I don't
what's
care
going to
anymore.
happen.
I'm thinking about how much I'm going to be out of office for the rest of the year, and it's not that bad.
I didn't think about that being beaten by 2 people,
Oh,
but
yeah.
now it's on.
Now you've set your sights on a new dark.
Well, the reason that I went for the Matrix, I'm like, well, maybe there's a chance Marty will be wrong
thought
and
at
I can
first.
gain the leadership, right? But
If you would like to try and participate in this disaster of a trivia segment that we do every week, please send your Xbox trivia question to unlocked@ign.com. Please include 4 multiple choice answers in there. Note the correct one in your email, and we'll play again next week. We'll see if we can eliminate Destin from contention.
well, I just
and
limited myself. so.
etch Marty's name into that
stupid logic.
into that trophy. Thank you again to Dan Sullivan for sending in that excellent trivia question. Let's go.
Thanks, Dan.
There's so much to get to out there
There
in the real world.
So busy.
Let's just stay in the studio and pretend that we don't have to do any of the things.
So many of those things.
Things
there.
won't go away. There are a lot of things.
I know. I got to finish that Mario review.
Yeah, I have to do that with Assassin's Creed, which is already up by the time that you're watching this.
That's right. Yeah, let's hope it is. Let's hope it's
Should be.
it's up by the time people see this. Okay, so let me go to Alana first for self-promotion.
One thing that I did this week that should also, in theory, be up by the time this is up, maybe potentially later, is I vlogged the entire Assassin's Creed review event because I wanted to show people what it's like to work at a review event.
It sucks.
It does suck. And, so I kind of documented that stuff where I'm really stressed about finishing this. Everyone in the room is freaking out. And then
It becomes
the process of having to separate myself from the fact that I had to finish the game in a really small amount of time with feeling frustrated with the review. So I vlogged that just up on my personal YouTube channel if anyone wants to check that out because I kind of just wanted to show people what it's like.
I hate those things. It
We
becomes
tried not to do it.
we
asked them.
almost always say no, but I think because this was the only place we could play it on the X because we don't have an X here yet.
Yeah.
So, because every review event I've ever been to in the past, it becomes this this subconscious race because you look at the person next to you and then you're like, oh, they're farther. Oh God, I have to finish. I hate review
This is a really big game, and it got to a point where it was just one guy in the room finished, and we were like, oh my God. We were all so worried that we weren't going to finish it at all. And then the first guy did, and we were like, okay, we're all fine. Holy crap. Because it got to a point where you put in 30 hours or 25 and there's still no end in sight. And these games are usually 18 hours long. So it was like, holy crap. But yeah, we got there. And yeah, I basically just vlogged what that was like.
Did you document
and showed
that
the
cookie?
event. What?
That cookie you were
I
talking
didn't. There was they had really good cookies.
Mm.
The cookies there were great. See,
had
that's the
brownies on
thing
the
is
first day that were good.
they did have brownies, but the cookies it was just so.
That's always there's
gotta
never
cook.
any, but there's never meals at those things. It's
They
always
did
just
have meals, but they were pretty crap.
Like
yeah.
flock sandwiches.
Yeah.
no,
they-
good on you on the transparency side too. It's we do say no to those things 99% of the
And Dan did try really hard, and we told him it was dumb. At the event, I told him it was dumb. It's this sucks. And it's just really hard to separate yourself from the fact that you're frustrated because you need to finish something and how good the game is. And I think that I totally managed to end up doing that objectively in the review.
Yeah, you're
I
a
think-
professional.
And I gave it a 9. So it's not like I was like, this is a 7 because I was frustrated. It worked, but it's hard. And you have to wait a few days after you leave the event to be like, okay, I need to separate myself from that environment. And I could have still been playing it on Monday. Like I could have played Monday. I could play for a week, and I couldn't play it over the weekend.
Yeah.
It was just
I
so frustrating.
have to give Cliff Bleszinski credit for that. It was back in the day, there was a review event for Gears of War 2. Had to go to some hotel and spend like 2 days there playing the game. And it's not good for us to be at a review event. I think it's also it's not good for the game.
A natural way to play
agree.
it.
Because you're just again.
And
yeah,
those chairs, what the? Who thought that was a good idea?
Sucked. They were so.
They had the worst chairs at this thing.
Yeah, they had really uncomfortable chairs, so people were just swapping out of the chairs. And because I burnt myself, I couldn't sit. I like burnt the crap out of my leg, so I couldn't sit properly. So I had to get them to put me on a couch in the corner of the room. And I found out later that everyone just thought that I was the jerk who was like, I'm sitting on the couch. It's like, no, I swear it's because I.
But yeah, this it's just like I don't think review events do either the reviewer or the game.
Publisher
any
gets to
favors.
control the environment, and it was handy having devs there if we had questions to ask. But for the most part, I could do that over email.
But yeah, after the Gears 2 review event, at some point I talked to like heart to heart with Cliff Bleszinski and told him and expressed our editorial concerns of why we think review events are bad. And to his credit, he just for Gears 3. They just sent us the game. They sent us the code and didn't subject us to another
I
one.
remember that. Gears 3 was great.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game. My favorite Gears.
I remember working on it. With you and just like
Best Gears.
They
I was an
gave
older
us-
fan.
Best Gears, actually.
Gears 2.
4 is better.
Oh,
I wasn't
well,
here yet.
I worked
I
on
like
that
the
one. We had the game. We had plenty of time to work on it. It was awesome.
Anyway, anything else?
That's the main thing right now. I'm going to hang out. I can't really say. I'm doing
Okay.
a cool Star Wars thing.
Ooh.
Working on that.
Who
this
could you
week.
possibly hang out with?
It's too obvious.
You were the one who started to say it.
But I didn't. Never mind. Hey, how about you, Monty?
BB-8.
I haven't been doing that much. It's not
Feature Boy stuff?
Feature Boy stuff. It's not. Some of it might be Xbox related, but Monday morning is the Sony Paris Games Week conference, and Alana and I are gonna be on the pre and post show. That starts at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, and then we're doing a post show afterwards. I think our call time is 6:30. I mean, there might be some cool third party stuff there. Like maybe we'll get news on the Destiny expansion.
Oh, sweet. I didn't even think of that.
Maybe they'll announce
I'll
that they're
watch.
publishing Sunset Overdrive 2. Who knows?
They won't.
That'd be great. But no, you're right. They
Who
won't.
knows?
Save that for PSX. Destin?
Yeah, this Saturday, we've actually held the feature for a long time that I worked on. Improvised lines from movies. Some of the most iconic lines you may or may not know as improvised, and kind of a little bit of the story, the backstory about them. That's publishing this Saturday. Xbox One X is right around the corner. I'm going to be producing a bunch of content about the Xbox with Ryan, with Brandon, with a lot of the other people here, but I want to make sure that that launch is dope. So, working on those facets of the company. Personal time, still streaming. Tuesday and Thursdays at 8, twitch.tv/Destin channel. Started doing the game show again, where I just kind of talk about news. Trying to do that on Wednesdays.
Nice. Good to you.
Yeah.
Keeping busy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Tired.
You can find me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. Lots going on IGN. Again, Albert Pinella will be on Unlocked next week, so looking forward to that. But if you get a chance, I would really love for you to read my backward compatibility profile that I did on the team up there. It's called The Untold Story of Xbox Backward Compatibility. So if you just Google that and maybe throw IGN in there, that should be the first thing that pops up. It's a good lunchtime read. It's like 2,000 something words.
It tells a really good story.
Yeah, and it's you will get to know the people behind backward compatibility and how much they are super invested in their jobs and how some of the challenges that they had to overcome to make it happen. So really grateful to Microsoft for inviting me up to spend the day there. That was super fun. And what else? Yeah, I'm reviewing a not Xbox game that's up now. So whatever.
Wahoo!
Yeah. I guess that'll do it. Let's go. Let's get the heck out of here and back to work. I am hungry.
I'm gonna go get coffee.
For Marty, Alana, and Destin, I'm Ryan. This was Unlocked 319. We'll see everybody back here next week.
Bye, everybody.